A rock rundown is an erosion control structure in which the face of a headcut has been stabilized and then covered with a single layer of rock mulch.
We're in a section of channel that's starting to degrade with a little more rapidity. So essentially it's moving down more quickly. And part of that degradation process is being driven by what we sometimes refer to as a head cut. It's a small nick point in this particular spot, but basically it's just a rapid change in elevation. So we have the channel kind of coming through a little constricted area here. It's coming to a little bit of a straight section where ideally we could put a one rock dam, but because there's this nick point, we have to alter the structure to become a rock rundown. So this is the nick point, or kind of a small head cut formation. The concern here is that as this water is coming down channel from where I'm standing, it is hitting this rapid change in elevation, pouring over, picking up acceleration, and scouring the base. Oftentimes you could think of this as a small waterfall. This is a little less exaggerated than in certain head cuts that you might see on the landscape, but basically this water is scouring at this point, picking up momentum. It's actually stripping enough soil that it's exposing numerous roots, and essentially is furthering the process of incising this channel so that water has no ability to spread out onto the landscape. This is drying the landscape out because we're not slowing and spreading water, we're accentuating it into a channel, and it has no ability to rehydrate the surrounding areas. So at this point we're going to start the process of building a rock rundown. The idea here is that we're going to address this head cut, or this nick point, by creating a 3-to-1 ramp. Basically for every 3 units of length, you would kind of create 1 unit of elevation. So it's kind of a fairly gradual ramp. What we're going to do that is we're going to actually pull some of this sediment or this soil off the edges of the channel into the bottom. If this was in a landscape where you were at a large head cut, just kind of in a grassy area, you would actually take the soil from the head cut up channel or up above in that area and use that sediment to pull the slope down. That would be your sediment source to create the ramp. But in this particular case, we've got an incised channel where water is not going to make it up onto these edges, so we'll just pull the soil from off these edges. So we've completed the ramp, and we're going to basically, similar to all structures, we're going to start from the bottom edge and work our way up slope or up channel. One thing to note about a rock rundown is that you kind of want to find the lowest point of that ramp and go just below it where the channel starts to level back out. So basically the point at which the slope changes into a flatter direction, that's called the inflection point. We basically, of that curve, we want to be able to build the first layer or footer or splash pad just below that inflection point before going up channel. So we've got some of the footer built at this point. From here on out, we're going to be building kind of slightly elevated above the ramp elevation, and add a little bit of grass seed or some sort of wildflower mix, and basically add a layer of stone 1 rock high up the edges a little bit, maintaining that concave shape, and ensuring that the water stays through the center of the structure. But essentially this is the part that was crucial in terms of building the splash pad just below the inflection point, which is about here. So just casting some of the seed through the bottom of the ramp. We'll continue to do that as we move up, but at this point we can start to put the stones on top of that seed, and essentially those stones protect that seed from being carried away by ants or other small insects, and provides a little bit of an increased soil moisture, and then we just build from here. So we're approaching where the nick point used to exist, right at this location. The important thing to do at this point is to make sure that we're not going to build the elevation of the stones above the head cut or the nick point. The reason for that is we want to make sure that water continues to enter through this structure. If we were to build the elevation up, water might try to go around it in certain circumstances. It wouldn't be able to do that in a channel or a rill that's this incised, but in a landscape where there was just a solitary head cut and some grasses above it, the last thing you'd want to do is put all these stones into the structure and ultimately send the water around the entire structure after you complete it. So we're coming to the conclusion of installing this rock rundown. The important things to note again is that we built that great footer at just below the inflection point. We would build a 1 rock dam below that if possible. We've tried to build as much around the existing vegetation, so we've maintained some vegetation within the structure. The structure itself will maintain a little bit of improved soil moisture so that this vegetation should actually thrive over time. We've maintained a concave shape throughout the middle, and kind of to conclude, we'll add a little bit of gravel in between any of the gaps between the stones, and we basically built the top of it up to the original head cut elevation, nothing above it.